Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about my research project, which is about K-pop or Korean popular music. In my project, I'm going to explore the question of why Korean popular music has become more and more popular around the globe. I'm going to specifically focus on the gendered perspective because I feel one of the most important reasons of K-pop's popularity is a kind of solidarity or shared global imaginary it has stirred up through the gender roles it constructed. And I'm going to unpack this later. So first I'm going to talk about some historical background of K-pop. So K-pop is also called Hallyu. It emerged in the end of last century in South Korea, and before it emerged, South Korea was dominated and influenced by China and Japan and their cultures in the past. And after World War II, Korea became the military base of the United States. And at the end of the 20th century, Korea has already experienced its own fast growth of economy and country power. And what's accompanied with that is Korea's anxious need to build some national sign to construct a new national identity to boost its national confidence. And this identity should be definitely different from the past traditional Chinese Confucianist ideology, but it also has to be free of the cultural influences from Japan and the West, especially the United States then. Therefore, K-pop was supposed to be balanced or at the midpoint between the past traditional Confucianist ideas and the contemporary Western, and establish a new national sign and soft power. And we can see some hybridity here. Also, the music itself also established its Koreanness on a wide range of foreign musics and dance genres like K-pop, R&B, techno, electronic, ballad, and salsa. And afterwards, the second wave of Hallyu happened in 2007, and it marked the beginning of K-pop entering the international market. However, to open up the international market, you have to cater to the taste of the international audience, especially for the Western audience, because they were from the countries who were supposed to be culturally dominant before. So how could K-pop make those audience accept curious music? And how does it balance itself between again the national and the international? Because it was supposed to be a typical sign of the national identity, but it also has to cater to the international taste. And this leads to the focus of my project because I think it's really the sense of clash or hybridity between the national or like the conservative ideas and the liberal ideas, or the clash and hybridity between the international and the Korean that results in K-pop's popularity around the world. Because this sense of clash or hybridity is such a general topic, I've chosen a more specific topic to focus on, which is gender. I feel K-pop music, through its lyrics, movie videos, music and singing, and even the form of idol groups, has stirred up a kind of global imaginary and solidified its global fandom and community through its transgressions or even maintenance on the normalized gender boundaries, and I have tried to explore through three perspectives. The first perspective discusses how Western K-pop fans are attracted to K-pop and its relation with the gender impressions of Korean popular music. I have picked two very typical trends to explore. The first one is called androgynous male idols. Basically, if you look at the boy K-pop groups, you'll find them deviate from the normal white or Western masculinity impressions. They're kind of feminized. To be more clear, I'm not saying that there are no masculine types in K-pop. Instead, they had the flower boys types, quote, who were more gentle and feminine, and quotes the beast idols who were more dominant and masculine. However, because every music videos of K-pop usually tend to determine a concept, which is intentionally made to vary by every music video, it looks like for every K-pop groups, their members tend to transgress the boundaries of flower boys and beast idols frequently. And in general, their singing voices tended to be soft and gentle, and lyrics tended to be expressing love and commitment, and they were also marked with youth and campus love. The same lyrics concepts appeared with the girls' groups too, as commented by an international fan. In today's Western pop musics, what you can always see is just drugs, parties all night, and sex everywhere, which makes this person tired and hate. But in K-pop, what you can find is pure campus love. So taking one of the most famous K-pop girl groups, Twice, as an example, their songs and lyrics are usually about eager love and enhancing the gender stereotypes in love relations, such as women shouldn't, quote, easily hand over their hearts, or asking men to be a real man to take the initiative. You can also see it from their adaptation of raps as the style, because rapping was originally not acceptable in Korea because the Korean traditional music tended to be always euphemistic and beautiful love expressing songs, while rapping is against it by being straightforward and even includes swearing words and material desires. For girl groups, for girl K-pop groups, their raps were adapted to be leaning towards the concept of cute and lack of offense, with the lyrics being more implicit and cynical and tones being more gentle. So we can see that those international fans are not actually attracted to K-pop because K-pop is just another pop that resembles the West. Instead, they quite like the differences the K-pop presents that is different from the West. For them, K-pop magically it caters to the liberal thinking of transgression on gender normativity, but it also has the reminiscence of the traditional love and gender roles. So, in other ways, we can see that it's a rebellion on a contemporary Western gender normality, and it stirs up among Western fans an understanding and even desires for the gender norms of, quote, Asian style. However, if we look at the Western fans from Korea's angle, we can also see many musical changes the K-pop companies have made to cater to the Western audiences. One manifestation is that in recent years, more and more groups have tried to infuse the concept of girl power or stronger and independent girl types into some groups to cater to the feminist callings in the West. Blackpink is one of the most popular girl groups in the West, and especially in the US. But they're actually not that welcomed by the Koreans locally just because people complained that they were being too hard. By hard, they mean that, for example, their rap styles deviate from the traditional expectations too much, with stronger music styles and lyrics like, quote, middle finger up, or swearings like, quote, F you. If you look at their musical concepts, they usually kill this love or, quote, lovesick girls who don't care about love anymore and want to be independent. So you can see that the success of Blackpink marks that to really get a position in the Western market, you still often have to sort of cater to the Western gender values. And for the third point, I'm still exploring it. I haven't drawn a conclusion about it. But briefly, from my research, I have found that K-pop fandom has become a new way for marginalized gender minority young people to build a community. Because K-pop, as I said before, has this transgression on gender normativities, and it also has this confusion of different foreign musical styles and be balanced between the conservative and the contemporary. And this kind of hybridity is very anti-establishment and corresponds to the liberal the situation and the identity-seeking process of the gender minority groups. So through this ideology, the marginalized gender minority groups like queers and LGBTQ have managed to establish actual international communities based on the fandom, which I will explore in more details afterwards. And at this point of research, the most important thing I have realized is that global imaginary includes both the idea of the local and the international. In the past, I thought global imaginary means individuals dumping the national identity and recognizing as a member of the global community. But now I feel having a global imaginary not only means having a global understanding, but also means a recognition and reminiscence of the local. The gendered global imaginary stirred up by K-pop was not always liberal or completely Western. Instead, it includes the reminiscence of the past, the local, the traditional, or the Western love-seeking values. Besides, I also have some questions left unsolved. For example, I know that Western fans can't represent all international fans, but most of the research I found usually only uses Western countries as representatives of the global market, which makes it very difficult for me to focus on international fans in other parts of the world. Second, I found that Korean popular music fans around the globe have much more female fans than male fans. And does that mean this kind of global imaginary I discussed above is only restricted to girls, and why? Why is it restricted to girls? And I haven't thought of the answers to those two questions yet. And that's all about my project until this stage, and thank you.